Welcome to our quick tour of dopamine, the brain's own little mood matchmaker. This isn't just a single chemical floating around, it's a versatile monoamine neurotransmitter that powers a lot of the brain's most exciting conversations. Dopaminergic neurons are the courteous surface here with chief hubs in the midbrain, specifically the ventral tegmental areas and the substantia nigra. From these stations, dopamine travels along several famous routes that scientists like to call the Nigrostriatal, Mesolimbic, Mesocortical, and tuberoinfundibular pathways. Each route has its own job description, but they all share one big theme. Dopamine helps the brain decide what's worth paying attention to, what to learn from, and sometimes what to enjoy. The players behind the scene, tyrosine is the starting material. It's converted by enzymes like tyrosine hydroxylase. Phenylalanine hydroxylase helps in making tyrosine from phenylalanine, a tiny but essential step. Dopamine then has the receptors across neural network from the nucleus accumbens and the mesolimbic pathways to the prefrontal cortex, especially the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and other frontal-parietal regions responsible for planning and attention. The prefrontal cortex, along with middle frontal gears, helps with cognitive control, decision-making, and keeping us on task. In the mesolimbic pathway, dopamine is the star of the show for reward, motivation, and hedonic states. It's not just feel-good stuff. Through its circuits helps attribute added value to our experiences, collaborate, learning, and shapes habitual responses. When things go right, dopamine helps us feel pleasure and motivates us to repeat the actions that lead to the good outcome. When things go off, the same system can contribute to problems like substance use disorders or maladaptive behaviors. The neurostriatal root is the motor function highway. It connects the substantia nigra to the striatum and helps regulate movement. That's why disturbances in this pathway are so famously linked to motor symptoms and certain disorders, and why that circuit keeps careful eye on the body's automatic, often unconscious actions. The mesocortical pathway reaches the prefrontal cortex and limbic area to influence cognitive, emotional behavior, and mood. And then there's the tuberoinfundibular pathway, which has a more hormonal twist. All this dopamine signaling doesn't happen in a vacuum. It interacts with a broader brain body metabolism picture, including circadian rhythm and sometimes circadian melanin shifts. So if you're curious about the practical side research, I'll study how circadian rhythms and vitamin D metabolism interact with dopamine, how sleep quality can influence dopaminergic signaling, and how learning and habit formation depend on the neuroplastic changes. And that's the tour of dopamine, a tiny chemical with great resume, quietly coordinating movement, meaning, and motivation across a lively interconnected brain.